What's going on, everyone? Happy weekend, and I got a little bit of a DC update for you to get through this weekend before we hit Slash Free Talk podcast on Monday. Some things that I missed during the Watchtower. So let's get into it. It's James Gunn talking some Batman and some other things that I thought, hey, let's throw it out in a regular update for all the fans. I'll talk about it and we'll see how it goes. I think it's pretty exciting stuff and some interesting things because James Gunn has been opening up a lot lately about things that are coming out in the future, in the near future, and the not so near future, things like that. But yeah, let's just kind of get into it here. First, it is about the two Batman movies. He was talking with Brandon Davis, and Brandon Davis basically asks him, like, you know, there's people are going to be like, hey, is it confusing that there's going to be two Batman? Like, there's people that are talking about that. And James Gunn kind of gives an answer. So let's see.
But my question is not about casting. I'm curious, you know, we know the Reeves stuff with Batman is going to be separate from what you do in the DC universe with Batman. Do you think audiences, do you ever think about, like, oh, our audience is going to follow that? Like, there are two separate Batman stories going on? Because I remember, like, with the X-Men and then the Avengers, sometimes people would be like, wait, they can't cross over because Fox and Disney. There were people who didn't know that.
Yeah, but sometimes. But people, was it causing anybody grief in any way?
No, I don't think so.
I think it was the same thing.
It's a good point.
I think that people are really starting to learn about stuff like that. Will it ever cause, you know, one of the weirdest things for me is that
I want to point this out. I like how he goes, did it really cause anybody grief? Like, was there really, like, is it that big of a deal? It's not. I said this a few years ago when they were talking about doing remember back when they were doing The Flash? I don't think you guys remember that. They were doing The Flash, and there was a lot of discussion that they were going to have Matt Reeves Batman, there was going to be The Flash, and then there was that rumor that they were going to do, or no, it wasn't a rumor, it was the Batgirl movie that was coming out. And because of all that stuff, there was like, okay, there's going to be Matt Reeves Batman, there's going to be one Batman from a different universe, then we're going to see Michael Keaton's Batman and Ben Affleck's Batman in The Flash, and then we're going to see Michael Keaton's Batman again in Batgirl. There's going to be 3 different Batmen in the span of like a year and a half or something like that. And people were like, oh, that's going to be too confusing. It's going to be crazy. People aren't going to know what Batman goes where and how this is all going to work. It's going to be ridiculous. And back then even, I was like, no, it's going to be fine. People are going to be able to follow it perfectly fine. But people just want to lose their minds because it's like, well, the general audience isn't going to be able to follow it. That is just something people say because they want what they want. They want what they want to be the main continuity or the main thing. They want what they want to move forward and not what's going on over here. And that's kind of the whole point of this, is that's why people were crying. But let's continue to hear what James has to say.
Big fans are often like, well, listen, I understand this. But normies will never understand this. Casuals will never understand this. But the truth is, guys, that you're the ones that don't understand. The casuals always understand. You can say, oh, yeah, he's changed Peacemaker. Yeah, they were, you know, there was some Justice Gang or Justice League was in that. Now it's the Justice Gang. And regular people who just like TV shows are like, oh, okay, that's weird. And then they're done. But the people who, you know, really focus on this stuff
we
and
live
go
in
crazy
a bubble.
They're in our bubble.
Yeah.
And the people in our bubble think that everyone outside of that bubble is too stupid to understand nuance. And it is just totally not the case.
Yeah, well, I call it the Uber driver test. Like, if a random person shows up to your door, will they understand it? And I'm like, well, maybe, but I guess it really doesn't matter that much. Yeah.
I mean, he hits the nail on the head there. Nobody ever gives the general audience enough credit for understanding things. First off, most of these general audience, they're sitting there watching Law and Order, Criminal Minds, NCIS. And I'm not going to sit there and say that those are the most, thought-provoking TV shows out there. But they do make you think from time to time, and they switch up stories and characters and redo things all the time in TV shows like that. So to sit there and act like they're not going to understand things, that's poppycock. Like, come on now. So when he did the changes with Peacemaker, when it wasn't the Justice League, it's the Justice Gang, or if they when they add another Batman to the mix, people are going to be perfectly fine and understand it. It's one of those things that people want to complain. They want to find a reason to complain about James Gunn. I say this all the time. They want to find a reason to complain about James Gunn just to complain about James Gunn because it's not what they want. And it's pathetic. It's ridiculous. It's just a bunch of sad men, and it's mostly men. I'm going to be honest. It's rare that I ever see women complaining about James Gunn like these men. Are they even men? I think they're just man babies that sit there and complain about James Gunn and whine and cry because they have problems. They really do. I wish, the best for them and that they get the help they need, but let's face it, they really are just man babies that have problems. So, yeah, I love his answer to it. I think it's great. Do you guys think that there's going to be any issues at all when they introduce the DCU Batman and Matt Reeves' Batman is out there? If they continue the Matt Reeves Batman after part 2, do you think there's going to be problems? Do you think people are going to be confused? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Next up, we got, continuing with Batman, he was asked over at IGN, I don't know if it was IGN that asked him, but this is coming from IGN, if Damian Wayne is still featured in The Brave and the Bold. And he states, I think you have to wait and see exactly what's happening. That is an interesting response. A very, very interesting response. I kind of brought up that whole aspect the other day myself that says, I don't know if it's going to be Damian. The way that he's been trying to crack the code, they were trying to crack the code for Brave and the Bold. It sounded to me like they were trying to figure out a good story that fits in with this. Maybe they don't necessarily get to Damian in this first movie. Maybe they get to him at some other point. I don't know, but it's an interesting response because that's what a lot of people were, pretty dead set on, that they were going to be handling Damian Wayne for the last couple years. For him to respond in this way. Now, here's the kicker. If they're doing that dynamic duos, and it's part of the DCU, well, where does that fit in? Because if that's part of the DCU, and remember, they're going back to rewrite that. So they're rewriting dynamic duos. So dynamic duos is being rewritten. If it's fitting in the DCU, maybe that's why it's being rewritten, because either Dick Grayson or Jason Todd is actually going to be the Robin in Brave and the Bold. Wouldn't that be interesting? Wouldn't that be interesting if that's the whole reason behind this, and that's why they decided, it can't be Damian right now. We're going to go with Dick Grayson or Jason Todd. And for dynamic duos to actually fit in with the DCU, we just need to make some tweaks over here and rewrite this. And I think it'd be better if it fit in the DCU. And that's the reason that they're doing it. I think that could be what's going on. And maybe we get Damian. Maybe Damian pops up at the end of the movie. Maybe Damian pops up in the second film. Either way, I think it's interesting. I don't know. What do you guys think? Would you prefer Damian to be in it? Would you like to see another Robin beforehand, Dick Grayson or Jason Todd or what have you? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Now, I don't know if you saw just a little bit down, James Gunn, while he was still talking to Brandon Davis, has clarified and has reiterated that Mr. Terrific is he has big plans. He has big plans. Big, huge, ginormous plans for Mr. Terrific in the DCU. I love it. He was great in Superman. My guess is he's going to pop up in Man of Tomorrow, but I have a feeling that he's going to get his own show. He's going to get his own project of some sort, whatever it is. He's going to get it. Edie Cathey was amazing as Mr. Terrific. I'm looking forward to it. Whatever it is, I'm all for it. Why not? You see people down here saying major plans for a 46-year-old actor. Let's not forget how old RDJ was and is when he started playing Iron Man. It's no big deal how old the person is for a character like this. Now, if it was your building block of the DCU, if it was your Superman, your Batman, your Wonder Woman, like that, yeah, you don't want him to be nearly 50 years old. But a character like Mr. Terrific could be 46 years old, and you can build 2 or 3, 4 projects off of him before you move on from it. And that's fine. People act like all these characters have to be 20 years old. They don't. All the characters don't need to be 20, 25 years old, 30 years old. Some of these characters can be in their 40s and 50s. Some of the characters will be in their 30s. Some of them will be in their 20s. That's how you build a universe. Not all characters in a universe are the same age or within their 20s and 30s. Some of them are older. Some of them are younger. That's how it works. But, that's the kind of people you see on the internet that just don't understand how things work, and it's pretty pathetic. Pretty pathetic. Okay. And finally, James Gunn on Man of Tomorrow. This is interesting. If you've been following Peacemaker, this, like I said on the Watchtower, what Lex and Rick Flag are up to affects very much what happens in an aspect of Man of Tomorrow. So all of that is connected. But this relationship between Rick Flag and Lex Luthor is a potentially negative thing for Superman and metahumans. So, as I said on the Watchtower the other night, the through line for Man of Tomorrow, I didn't think was going to be them showing Brainiac or showing the villain or anything like that. I thought that it was going to be Lex Luthor and Superman. But after hearing this, it might be Rick Flag and Lex Luthor that is the through line to Man of Tomorrow. And to me, it seems like they're creating something. They're causing something to happen. They're causing a chain of events that's going to be the through line into Man of Tomorrow, which is going to be interesting, which is going to be a problem for all of metahumans in the world. So that is intriguing. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this. What do you think it could be? Obviously, I think we're going to get more answers on that next week on the next couple episodes of The Peacemaker. But I don't know. I think it's intriguing. I think it's fun. I think it's exciting to hear, to see all this. I just can't wait to see where it all goes. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below about all of this. What do you guys think about this? It's crazy. It's all crazy. DC is moving forward. It's chucking along. I love it. I know you all love it. It's fun. It's great. But let me know your thoughts. Make sure you hit that like button, hit subscribe, follow me on all the social medias. Make sure if you know, hey, I got a podcast. You can listen to my Slavinsky Talk podcast or the Watchtower. You can find me on Spotify. You can follow me there. On Apple Podcasts, you can follow me there. You can follow along and listen on your way to and from work or while you're working out or on a jog, whatever it is. You can listen to me there if you can't listen to the show live. Obviously, my shows like this are solely on YouTube, but my full-length podcast you can find there. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. And with all that said, I will catch you all later if I can figure out where the button is that I got to press. Right there. See ya.